Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, I want to take a little look here at Joe Kuberts Tor, number 1 of a 6-issue miniseries from DC Comics 2008. But before we get into that, I want to remind you I have a couple of books available. This is Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology. Bizarre Brain Comics presents Heroes. And the first one, the anthology, is some humor and a little bit of adventure stuff here. And then the second one, Bizarre Brain Comics presents Heroes, is more mainstream with some superheroes stories, and see there, and some a little bit of horror and fun like that. Both of these are available for $7.99 online. I can get them at Amazon or Barnes & Noble online store and some other online book outlets. The easiest way to get it is just to Google the title, and it will give you a link going right to it. Okay, Joe Kuberts Tor. I've covered Tor once before here, about 3 years or so ago. And I love Joe Kubert, and I love his Tor. So this is, of course, Tor number 1 of a 6-issue miniseries, which this is the only issue from that miniseries I've got. After reading this, I really would like to get the rest of it, because I'm a big Kubert fan and a Tor fan. It's from 2008 DC Comics, and the title of the whole series is A Prehistoric Odyssey. And Tor is a comic book series originally created by Joe Kubert and Norman Maurer and it was originally published in The World of a Million Years Ago in 1953 at St. John Publications, running for 5 issues. Then it was revived in 1975 by DC Comics, running for 6 issues of primarily reprint material. And there was a couple other things like some 3D stuff in there. And then in 1993, Marvel's Epic line published a reboot featuring new material by Kubert in a 4-issue magazine-sized miniseries. And I've got 3 of those 4, and I wanted to dig them out. Now I don't know where they are. They're not where I know they have been for years, so I must have put them someplace else and don't remember. Then DC published this 6-issue miniseries in 2008, which picked up where the Epic series ended. And originally, it depicted Tor in a world of dinosaurs, but the reboot put him more in a realistic and historical situation, but it was still filled with prehistoric monsters. And like even in here, some of the monsters are not normal, but it's not with dinosaurs, or at least not primarily with dinosaurs. In the Epic miniseries, if I remember correctly, it retold the story of the events that led to him being outcast by his tribe. Sometime in the Paleolithic period, and he is obviously modern Homo sapiens, and but he's displays a bit more of the humanity than the others of the primitives around him. And if I remember correctly, in that epic miniseries, he did come across a place where there were some remnants of dinosaurs still existing, but not like in the original series where it was just a world filled with dinosaurs. And so especially says of 1,000,000 years ago. And I think they got that title, of course, and that probably the whole idea from 1,000,000 BC, which was the original one, which was in the 40s, and in which they lived in a world filled with dinosaurs, even though that 1,000,000 years ago, dinosaurs had been extinct for 65 million years. So here we are. It's all Joe Kubert. He wrote it, drew it, he did most of the coloring and stuff. And here just does the Outcast, and it starts. We see it on a beach of some kind, on a lake or a seafront beach, footprints just leading across the beach, and we see a bit of blood in the footprints, etc. And there's really no dialogue in it at all. It's all captions, and Tor never speaks, and there's no dialogue or dialogue balloons for the few other people. It's just explained because they don't have a common language. And you can see he's all beat up. Yeah, and of course Joe Kubert. He was one of the last of the Golden Age great artists to pass. What was it, 2016 or so? I think it was something like that. And he admitted this is his Tarzan. And you see here, he's all beat up, bloody, cut up, everything from his last encounter, whatever it was with the creature, whatever it was. I don't remember because I don't know because I didn't have the 4th issue. And here we see the titles: the Tor, a Prehistoric Odyssey. And he's wandering around, trying to soothe his injuries, get water to drink, soothe his injuries with some mud, and then he sees this large pinnacle, it's an escarpment, just kind of be right out in the middle of the flat terrain here. He picks up little worms and bugs and lizards to eat because there's nothing else around. Save some for later. Using bark, makes himself a kind of a headband and vines for a rope, and breaks off a sapling, a dried sapling, for a staff, and he continues on his way. He's interested in seeing this escarpment is described to being a place for monsters dwell, by legends from his tribe. And he gets to a forested area, finds some fruit. He's unfamiliar with the fruit, but out of desperation, he has to eat it anyway. It's satisfying, but apparently it had some hallucinogenic properties because he is on a trip seeing monsters, and they grab him and thrust him up into the air, and he's whisked away into the sky, and he feels like he's flying, and then he wakes up and he's still in the same place. And he's hungover. So he continues on. He starts climbing the escarpment, finds a crevasse he climbs goes through into a cavern filled with filled with the bats, goes clear through and finds a forested area in the center. So apparently it is an extinct volcanic crater. That's what I presume. It doesn't say that. And he goes on into the woods, finds some water, takes a bath and drinks and everything, gets some food, and he hears some screaming. And he goes to see what it is in a pool, nearby pool that's fed by the waterfall. He sees some kind of ape-like, human-like thing, and it's tied to a stone, and it's crying and wailing, and he turns to just leave it. It's not human. It's not for him to be concerned about until a crocodile, and he's just great at crocodiles. A crocodilian approaches the hapless figure, and he can't leave. Then he goes and he engages. Even in the battle, he's wondering why he's risking himself for this thing he knows nothing about. But he gets the crocodile, gets his lance into the beast's eyes and kills it. Saves the small creature, and then he realizes, well, it's a boy. It's just a child. It's just a hairy child. And there are people or things in the forest observing him. And then they come out. They have no common language, but he indicates he wants them to follow him. It's more of a request initially, then it's a strong suggestion when the armed beings, and I would presume these are probably supposed to be Homo erectus or something like that. And so they take him off. But there he sees what he had seen when he first entered this valley, in the distance where he was headed, is what now he sees is a temple, but he doesn't know that it's a temple. It's the first time he's ever seen anything like this. It's some kind of constructed, it looks like a temple, a building of some kind, and it would seem that these subhumans did not construct it. And then he's trying to tell Tor what the ancient aged leader is trying to tell him. So he shows a picture which he realizes is supposed to represent the boy. Then he draws a picture of this other grotesque being with four arms, and indicates that the boy had been supposed to be a sacrifice to that being, and they want to take the boy back. Well, they grab the kid to take him away, but then they hear noises in the edge of the forest, and it approaches, and then we see the very horrific being that the aged one had drawn has come for his sacrifice. Dun dun dun! Oh, what is it? Some kind of bizarre mutated being, a giant of a man-like thing, and it has come for its sacrifice. What's going to happen to Tor? Obviously he's going to have to fight this critter to save both himself and the boy. What happens? I don't know. He must win, but I don't know. And I gather this whole miniseries was reissued in a graphic album form, which I have seen once or twice, I think. I'm not positive, and I might have to pick it up if I can find an inexpensive copy sometime. So, because I love Kubert, and I like Tor, and I wonder what happens. I will definitely, if I get the chance, I will definitely get the rest. But if you go back to, I think it was episode 138. I'm not positive, it's around there, from about 3 years ago when I did the first Tor. If you're not familiar with Tor, check out that episode and you'll see the original version of Tor. And if when I come across the the epic mini-series, I'll probably do an episode on that too sometime. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe. Do leave your comments down below. Tell me how much you love Joe Kubert, how much you love Tor, cavemen, dinosaurs, all that stuff. Oh. And remember, comics are art.